Romae aeterne ad victoriam.
The night was cold on the outskirts of Rome. 1,000 tents stretched across the field like silent shadows. Inside one of them, a young man named Marcus Varro couldn't sleep. Tomorrow, he would swear the oath that would bind his life to the Roman army. He could hear men murmuring in other tents. Some prayed to Mars, the god of war. Others whispered to each other, wondering what the ceremony would be like. But no one dared speak too loudly. There was something sacred, almost secret, about the oath every Roman soldier had to take. Marcus had joined the army for glory. He wanted to wear the shining armor, march through the streets of Rome, and hear the people cheer. But tonight, lying on the hard ground, he began to realize this was not a game. This was a promise that might cost him his life. At sunrise, a trumpet blasted across the camp. "Soldiers, assemble!" Thousands gathered in perfect formation, their armor gleaming. In front of them stood their commander, General Lucius Cornelius, a man whose face looked carved from stone. He raised his hand and said, "Today you swear the Sacramentum militare, the sacred military oath of Rome." The men went silent. The Sacramentum was no ordinary promise. It was a vow to the gods themselves. To break it was not just treason, it was sacrilege. The general's voice thundered, "Repeat after me. I swear by Jupiter Optimus Maximus and by Mars the Avenger." The soldiers repeated, their voices echoing across the valley. "I swear by Jupiter Optimus Maximus and by Mars the Avenger, that I will obey my commander in all things. That I will obey my commander in all things. That I will never abandon my post nor flee from battle. That I will never abandon my post nor flee from battle. When the lad..."
Together we fight. Together we die.
When the last words were spoken, the men stepped forward one by one to touch the sacrificial bull that had been offered to the gods. Its blood had been poured onto the earth, symbolizing the soldiers' willingness to die for Rome. Marcus's hand trembled as he touched the bull's horn. The general looked into his eyes and said quietly, "Now you belong to Rome." It was no longer Marcus Varro, the farmer's son. It was Marcus Varro, soldier of the Roman Republic. Weeks later, Marcus learned what the oath really meant. One afternoon, a dust cloud appeared on the horizon. It was a band of enemy raiders. The Roman soldiers were outnumbered 2-1. Fear rippled through the ranks. A few soldiers whispered, "We should retreat, live to fight another day." But then the centurion shouted, "Remember your oath." Marcus remembered.
Let the heavens rage. We are the sons of Rome, and we will not yield.
Shields locked, spears ready. The raiders charged, and the Romans did not move. Their discipline was terrifying. They fought like a single living machine. When the battle ended, the Romans had won, but hundreds lay dead. Marcus sat among the fallen, realizing that the oath wasn't about blind loyalty. It was about trust, unity, and the strength of Rome itself. Every soldier's courage depended on the man beside him, keeping that sacred promise. A few weeks later, a terrible thing happened. One soldier, Gaius Livius, was caught deserting his post. He had run when the enemy attacked. The army called an assembly, and Gaius was brought before the legion. The general's voice was calm, but cold. "You broke the Sacramentum. You broke faith with Rome." The punishment was brutal and symbolic. The Romans called it fustuarium. The deserter was beaten to death by his own comrades. Marcus could hardly bear to watch, but he did. Every man did. They had to. It was a reminder that the oath was not mere words. It was life itself. A soldier who betrayed it not only shamed himself, but angered the gods and endangered his brothers. From that day on, no one in the legion ever spoke lightly of the oath again. Years passed. Marcus fought in many battles, Gaul, Hispania, and beyond. He saw friends die and new recruits take the same oath he had once sworn. One evening, as the sun set over a conquered city, Marcus stood on the walls and thought back to that cold night of his youth. He realized something powerful. The oath had not chained him, it had made him. It had given him courage when he was afraid. It had made him part of something greater than himself. It had turned a frightened boy into a Roman soldier. He whispered into the wind, "Rome lives because her soldiers keep their word." The Rome, its vast empire, its disciplined legions, its unshakable order. Remember the Sacramentum militare. It was more than a military rule. It was the heart of Roman power. Every legionary's loyalty bound not just men to men, but humans to gods, and soldiers to the very idea of Rome. That secret oath, spoken centuries ago in hushed voices under Roman skies, shaped the destiny of an empire that would last 1,000 years.